Hello and welcome. My name is Benita Bryant, and I'm a faculty supporting classroom consultant and the host for this session, Fostering Belonging Through Inclusive Assignment Design, Empowering Non-Traditional Students in Higher Education. By joining us today, you acknowledge that this session is being recorded and will be shared with TLC-related materials. Microphones will be muted for this presentation, but we encourage you to post questions and comments in the chat. Also, we have enabled live transcription. If you would like to use it, click the Show Captions button at the bottom of your Zoom window. Now, I'm pleased to introduce you to Dr. Naima Quarles, who is a full-time faculty with UAGC with a master's degree in management and a degree in executive leadership and organizational design from the University of Charleston. She brings over 20 years of experience as an educator, technologist, and professional. Her current research interests include artificial intelligence, course design, and adult learning. Dr. Quarles, the floor is now yours.
Thank you, Benita, for that wonderful welcome. And I appreciate you and everyone behind the scenes of the TLC conference for putting this together and bringing the like minds together so that we can all collaborate. Welcome to everyone. I would like to start by painting a picture. I want you to imagine a student who's balancing a full-time job, who's balancing family obligations and their academic goals. Unfortunately, this is the reality for many of our non-traditional students. Now, when we add that the student encounters our assignment instructions on top of all of that, we have to ask ourselves, how can we ensure that they find these instructions to be clear and to be helpful rather than overwhelming or confusing? Today, we're going to discuss the unique needs of our non-traditional students, and we're going to explore some strategies to create instructions that support them effectively on their academic journey. Our non-traditional students often fall outside of the typical college demographic. They might be older, they might be employed full-time, or they might be caretakers full-time. Our non-traditional students make up a very significant portion of our student bodies. Their unique circumstances require us to rethink our approach to instruction. They're going to bring resilience and time management skills and real-world experience to their studies, but they're also going to face very unique challenges. We're going to explore together some of those aspects in depth as their understanding of their experiences is essential for creating our effective assignment instructions, as you will see throughout the presentation. To begin, let's clarify who we mean by non-traditional students and why understanding their unique characteristics is going to be an essential portion of designing effective assignment instructions for those students. On the left side of our slide, you'll see that we have some common demographics in defining traits of our non-traditional students. Typically, those students are 25 years or older. They may have delayed their college enrollment, and often they attend school part-time while juggling additional responsibilities. Many of these students are going to be working full-time, or they are financially independent, and a large portion have family obligations outside of schoolwork. Those factors are going to place them outside of the traditional college student profile of the recent high school graduate attending school full-time. Now, when we look to the right, we can see some of their unique challenges and their strengths. Starting with their challenges, our non-traditional students are often going to face time management issues, which is going to be due to balancing work, family, and school. There may be technology gaps, as some may not have recent exposure to some of the digital tools that are essential for our modern learning environments. And there may be financial strain, where they might be managing the tuition costs along with other personal or family expenses. But I also don't want to be callous and not mention it that these students are also bringing significant strengths to the classroom. Their life experience is often going to enrich the classroom discussions, and it can provide valuable perspectives in their coursework. They're usually going to have very clear goals and a strong sense of purpose, as they are often pursuing education to advance or to pivot their careers wherever they may be at the time. And then lastly, they show strong motivation because they're driven by both personal and professional aspirations. Understanding these dynamics is going to help us as faculty members and those who are responsible for curriculum design. It's going to help us tailor the assignment instructions that accommodate their realities while also leveraging their strengths and supporting their success. So let's keep these factors in mind as we continue to delve into effective instructional design that's tailored to this specific group. Research has shown that well-structured, clear, and supportive instructions significantly impact student success, especially for non-traditional students who may have limited time and resources. Studies highlight how tailored instruction reduces the cognitive load and it minimizes confusion. And it's going to make assignments more accessible and more manageable for this group of students. So let's look at some key findings that support these assertions. Recent research is providing compelling insights into how we can best support non-traditional students through effective assignment instructions. Each of these findings demonstrates that the impact that clear, structured, and supportive instructions has on student success, particularly for those balancing multiple responsibilities. First, clear instructions is going to improve performance. Studies show that when instructions are straightforward and easy to follow, students are more likely to complete assignments successfully with very little confusion and fewer questions. Second, the relevance is going to increase engagement. When students see a direct connection between their assignments and real-world applications, especially those that align with their personal or career goals, they are more motivated and engaged in the work. The flexibility is going to support retention. For non-traditional students, flexibility in the deadlines, submission formats, or assignment options can make the difference between that student staying in the course and that student dropping out. Flexible instructions acknowledge that their unique constraints of that academic student is going to help them stay enrolled and engaged. Developing self-regulation skills is also going to be imperative for this group of students. Instructions that guide students on how to pace their work or to break down large tasks and foster essential skills in time management, and it's going to help them with self-directed learning. This support is going to be invaluable for this group of students because they need to juggle multiple priorities. Lastly, transparent assessment is going to reduce the anxiety around going back to school. When students understand exactly how their work will be evaluated, it's going to minimize the guesswork, reducing stress and helping them focus on meeting clear criteria. These findings are going to reinforce why we're focusing on structured, relevant, flexible, supportive, and transparent instructions. They serve as the foundation for the strategies that we're going to explore in this talk today to help all students succeed, particularly those with non-traditional backgrounds. I'd like to introduce the 5 foundational pillars for effective assignment instructions. These pillars are going to ensure instructions are clear, that they're relevant, that they're flexible, that they're supportive and transparent. Each one of these pillars addresses a specific need or a challenge faced by non-traditional students. And together, they create a comprehensive framework for instructional design. We'll dive deeper into each pillar on the next few slides. The first pillar of clarity and structure is going to be our base component. Instructions need to be straightforward. It has to guide the students step by step, particularly for those students that are juggling multiple responsibilities. Clarity is going to prevent misunderstandings, and it's going to help the students manage their time effectively. You can do this by using bullet points, by headings, providing examples to make those instructions a little bit more digestible and easier to follow. You also want to make sure that you're breaking down those tasks into clearer steps. Our relevance in our real-world application is going to be an essential component, especially for the non-traditional student who wants to see the connection between their academic work and real-life situations. Assignments with practical applications, it's going to help to engage the students and it's going to show the value in their efforts. When students can see direct relevance, they are more motivated, and understanding how these assignments can contribute to their personal and professional growth is going to be a strategy that you want to employ when you are giving assignment instructions. You want to make sure that you are linking those assignments to those practical applications. Some examples of that could be case studies that are relevant to the student's field or to the student's major. Flexibility and accessibility can make or break an assignment for a non-traditional student. Offering choices such as flexible deadlines or varied formats even helps to acknowledge that there are other commitments for that student, and it allows the student to complete the assignment in a way that suits their circumstances. This flexibility can lead to a greater student satisfaction and a greater retention. So offering multiple submission formats or extending the deadlines even is going to help accommodate that diverse learning need of our non-traditional student. Supporting self-regulated learning is going to involve giving our students tools to plan and to manage their work effectively. For example, if we're setting up checkpoints to help the students pace themselves and avoid any kind of last-minute cramming, that tends to encourage the students and encourage the habits that supports lifelong learning skills. It's going to help the student make their workload feel more manageable. We want to make sure that we're encouraging them to use their time and their resources. So if you're providing instructions to the student, you may want to provide checkpoints for where the student should be by a certain date and before they are to turn in the full assignment. The transparent assessment criteria is going to be essential for fairness and for clarity. When our students understand exactly how they're being assessed, they can then focus on meeting those expectations rather than second guessing. Clear rubrics is not only going to clarify goals, but it's also going to reduce anxiety, especially for the student population, because they are returning to education after pretty long hiatus from not being in higher education. So you want to make sure that you are providing detailed rubrics or grading criteria for the student to follow. A rubric outlining those expectations for each section is very helpful. Sometimes you may even need to break this into a checklist if it is a long or a larger assignment, so that the student can check off which rubrics they are meeting as they're completing the assignment. Technology is going to offer an incredible tool for supporting our diverse learning styles and for enhancing the instruction clarity to this group of students. Platforms like Canvas or Blackboard tend to allow for multimedia formats such as videos or interactive content, and that can make instructions more engaging and more accessible. So you want to make sure that you are incorporating that multimedia approach and that element within your instructions. Sometimes you can't just have a written instruction. You may need to have a video. You may need to have a click-through guide or an interactive that caters to the visual and auditory learners, as well as those who are able to process those instructions from just reading. So this part of the session is going to be interactive, where we're going to actually put the theory into practice. And we're going to look at some exemplary assignment instructions. We're going to examine some before and after versions of these examples. And then we're going to see how each pillar transforms the unclear and overwhelming instructions into supportive, effective guidance. This time you can come off mic and you can interact with us as well. So make sure that you can either chat it out what your viewpoints are on the assignment instructions, or you can come on mic. I'm going to highlight some of those specific elements as we're moving through it and make those instructions successful, and then we're going to make them adaptable for the diverse student needs. So for our first poor example, the instructions are write a research paper on any topic from the semester. It should be about 5 pages long and is due in 2 weeks. Would anyone like to come off of mic and or on chat and let us know, what do you think is wrong with these instructions?
What is a research paper, Dr. Quarles? What does that exactly mean?
That is a very good question.
I think it's too vague. But also, you know, I feel like, and I come to this as a course designer, having done many over my years here at UAGC. Students need a topic, they need a specific They need specific content to include. And I like to also include a worked example as well as a template for them to work on.
That's a very good point, Lynn. I do love the idea of the examples and the templates. I know I was just part of a course Uplift. For those who are part of UAGC, you understand what I mean by that. But if you're not, it's where you're redesigning a course, a current course that's currently being used by students. And one of the things that we incorporated in that new course list is to have examples and to have a rubric and just provide more of a template for students to be able to fill that template out, to take some of the guesswork out. It's a very good point, Lynn.
And there's some really good feedback, some really good comments in the chat box.
Oh, great.
Did you want me to read those for you, or did you want to go for that?
That would be great if you could read those for me. That'd be great.
I would be glad to. The first one is from Wendy, due in 2 weeks from when. There's no specific date. I added that part on. Benita said, providing topic suggestions to help them start the process. Jen Zauer says there are not any content criteria to help them know what needs to be included in their research paper. Benita said they also need exact due date to cut down on confusion for the assignment submission. And Wendy said about 5 pages, question mark. And then Jay Garcia says, if it's applicable, it would be great if the faculty member offered other options aside from a research paper, such as a video or a podcast. Ooh, that sounds like fun.
I love that. That is definitely incorporating tools of technology within the assignment in different formats. That's a great point. Those are all very good points and very good observations of what's wrong with this example. Let's go on to see how we could make it better. Just a second. So what could be improved here? We can look and see that it lacks structure and clarity. As we all pointed out, the instructions do not break down the assignment into specific requirements. It lacks relevance. There's no guidance on how to choose a meaningful or relevant topic. We're really not giving the students any meat here for them to build upon within this assignment. And then it lacks that transparent assessment criteria. There's no rubric or grading or criteria provided, and it really leaves the students very unclear on the expectations. So that's one way that we could improve that. In the improved example, you'll see here that is giving the improved instructions of a research paper where you're choosing a topic from the semester that you find personally relevant or that ties into your professional field. So we're narrowing it down now. And then it's saying that your paper should be between 4 to 6 pages, include at least 3 scholarly sources, and follow APA format. Now, while this is not an exhaustive, I'm doing a very high level view here of how we could improve these instructions. I still want to make sure I'm saying the disclaimer. This is still not as in depth as we would go for an actual assignment, but for the purpose of this example, this is more clear to the student of what you're looking for. We have some steps outlined here where we have the topic selection that you should submit your topic by the end of this week for the feedback. We have the outline where you should complete a draft outline and list those sources by the following Wednesday. And then we have the final draft that's due 2 weeks from now. Extensions are available upon request. And if this was a real assignment, of course, we would have due dates listed here so that we had those hard, fast due dates and the student knew exactly when they were supposed to submit something. Again, in the assessment, it's telling you how it's going to be evaluated. It's evaluated based on clarity, research depth, relevance, organization, and adherence to APA guidelines. It's also referencing a grading rubric that is available within the course. You'll see that this clarity here just gives students a little bit more meat and potatoes for them to be able to build the meal of their actual assignment and submit something that they can be proud of. Let's go again to another poor example where we're saying create a PowerPoint on a book of your choice. Make sure it has enough slides and it looks good. Anyone want to come off mic or in the chat and share with us why you think this is a poor example?
I would say one of the things is PowerPoint is a touchy subject for some students just in general, because they may not have ever created a PowerPoint before. Again, I know we're not supposed to try to teach them upfront all the things, all the tools, but I would say a little bit more clarity on what a PowerPoint is, maybe upload the process for the PowerPoint. That's the first thing that sticks out in my mind.
Thank you so much, Benita. That's a good point. It's a very good point. Also, too, given now that we are in 2024, like there are other ways to make a presentation, right? So maybe they don't have PowerPoint. Maybe they don't have access to Microsoft 365. Maybe it wasn't included as part of their tuition as it is here at UAGC. And if that is the case for the student, then we have now presented an undue burden to that non-traditional student. It's another thing for them to have to worry about. So maybe we could give them other options for them to actually make a presentation, because there are some free options that are available online. Anyone else?
I'll just say again, enough slides is too, that's just too broad. It's like, okay, how many is enough? How many is not enough? So again, that needs to just be more clear and with specific slide numbers.
Absolutely. And I do want to make this disclaimer. When I was putting this presentation together and doing the research for this, these are actual reported, self-reported from students. These are actual assignments that they have been given. So this has been found in forums where students are complaining about the actual instructions of assignments that they are supposed to be turning in for a grade. So this is like, I didn't make this up, you know, and these are actually being told to students. And so I know we don't do these things here, and it's almost hard to imagine that you are expecting a student to fill in the blanks where there really shouldn't be any blanks for something that they're going to be assessed on. And so that's why we're having this conversation, right? Imagine adding that level of stress to a non-traditional student who already has enough things going on outside of school. So we'll see here, it could be improved because of course it's lacking that structure and that clarity. There's no details on the content, no requirements, and no slide structure. It's lacking that relevance. There's no connection to the course themes or the learning objectives. And of course, that looks good is very, very vague. So there's no transparent assessment criteria, and it doesn't provide any clear standards. If we click through, we see the improved example. We can see here that we're doing a presentation. Choose a book relevant to the course themes. Your presentation should consist of 8 to 10 slides, and make sure that they're covering a summary where you're briefly summarizing the book's key themes and ideas, a connection to the course, explain how this book relates to our recent topics, and then a reflection where you're sharing a personal takeaway or insight. It gives you different submission formats that you might create a PowerPoint, or use a platform like Canva or Google Slides. It gives you that timeline where it should be submitted by Monday, and then the final submission is due next Friday. And then it's telling you that assessment, that presentations will be graded on content depth and the connection to the course themes, that clarity, and the visual appeal. And then it's telling you again that there is a further rubric on the assignment within the course. Remember, we're looking at how we can make sure that the student has a solid foundation to build so that they can submit an assignment that is something that they can be proud of, and something that you are not having to correct for format, or you're having to correct because they just didn't meet the mark, because they didn't understand the mark. Here's another, for example, where it says, write a report about a current event. It should be long enough and interesting. I think we're all going to say the same thing that we've been saying all along, is that it's not very relevant. It doesn't tell you exactly what it's talking about. Long enough, it's subjective. Interesting, it's subjective. Current event is even subjective, and there is no relevancy. So let's click through and see how we could improve this one as well. Again, it's lacking that clarity and that structure. There's no information on the length or the structure or the format. There's no connection to the course topic or the objectives. There are no steps, no timelines, nothing to help the student manage their work, and there's no clear criteria for grading or interesting. It's very, very subjective. I do want to point out too that that connection to the course topic or to the objectives is something that you're going to see, or that you have seen and have noticed in all of these assignment rubrics, is that we're really trying to make sure we're connecting it and making it relevant, because students are concerned with that. They are concerned with the question of why. Why am I doing this? Why does this matter? Why is this part of this course? Why this assignment? And so you want to make sure that you're having that relevance and you're connecting it. We can see in the improved instructions that you're telling them to choose a recent event that ties into our course theme, that you're writing a 2 to 3 page report discussing the event's impact and how it connects to our discussions. It's giving that structure now. It's telling you how you should have that introduction, how you should include an analysis, and how you should include your personal insight. It gives a timeline. It tells you when the topic should be approved and when you should have that final report. And then finally, it goes over the assessment. It tells you how it's going to be graded, on relevance, analysis, clarity, and connection to the course content. And then it tells you that there is another rubric that the student can reference. As you can see, and just concluding and recapping what we've done here, hopefully in our discussions and in our examples, you've gained some practical understandings of those 5 pillars, and you've understood the tangible examples of improved assignment instructions, and that we've learned little strategies for creating supportive instruction that addresses the needs of our non-traditional students. Because remember, we're trying to encourage their belonging. We want to make sure that they feel like they fit, like they feel like they can succeed in our courses. We've explored the importance of those clear supportive instructions and the 5 pillars. And the goal here is to always empower our students by providing the guidance that's structured, that's relevant, that's flexible, and transparent. And so hopefully we can take this approach moving forward, and we can commit to designing instructions that set every student up for success. This time we can open it up to questions and any answers that I might be able to provide or that we can discuss as a collective. Feel free to either use the chat or to come off of mic.
I just wanted to say, I put it in the chat, thank you for the valuable information, because I could definitely use this in my classroom as well. I teach Gen 101, so that's the brand new course that comes to our students, and great information, great tips. And I would love to get a copy of your PowerPoint presentation if possible.
Absolutely, I would be happy to share it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So there was, excuse me, a couple comments in the chat box. One is, what do you think is a part of the advice or requirements from Learning Mate versus what we should add? And that's from Sherry.
From Sherry, do you mean which part is which part is Learning Mate responsible for?
No, what I'm saying is I feel like a lot of this is stuff that Learning Mate is going to guide us to do in any revision anyway, right? Like, I think that they would not accept us just saying, here's go write a paper and have it be about 5 pages long about some topic from class. So I'm wondering what you think we should like bring with us to Learning Mate outside of what they would probably require. I don't know. Have you done a bunch of revisions yet with Learning Mate?
I have done some of the revisions with Learning Mate, and I will say from my experience with them, they are more the project managers and more the directors around when and where everything should go. What we're going to bring to the table is those very clear instructions, and it's up to whoever your SME is going to be for that particular course to make sure that you are providing the instructions that are clear, and that if you want examples or you want templates or you want any type of suggestive, this is how you should do this assignment, you have to have that information and you have to bring that to Learning Mate to include that in the course.
Yeah, I guess I tend to be wordy and probably offer too much anyway. So this is not like I'm going to give them examples. I'm going to give them a paragraph of instructions about what to do. So the takeaway from your presentation here is to really break that down into nuggets, break down it into bullet points so that it's easy to distinguish all of the components of it. But yeah, I didn't think about that. When I go to Learning Mate, they probably don't have to tell me, but I do think Learning Mate should probably, it would be wise for them to have this advice as well and guide everyone toward those goals. So, I know that they're more like administrators and they just get the things done that we ask them to do, but they have all of these other requirements, that I know because they say, oh, we can't say this or the rules say that, so I know that they have them. So they could probably keep some of these things in mind as well. That's the only thing I was thinking. Thank you for the presentation.
You're welcome. I definitely think it could be a partnership and a shared collaboration in moving towards having very clear, very direct and very accountable type of instructions and assignment rubrics. I definitely think we can have that shared responsibility with Learning Mates. It's a very good call out, Sherry.
Sorry, Dr. Quarles, can I interject one quick nugget of information here? So I've been doing course design for, like I said, many years. And some of the things that I find are super helpful, like you said, Sherry, is to break those down into bullet points. I like to kind of give the students a scenario, and sometimes that's a single paragraph of this is your scenario. You're working in this position and I teach in healthcare administration. So you're in this position in a hospital or in a doctor's office or wherever, somewhere in the health industry, and this situation comes up. Your job is to create this from it. And bullet points are a big one, but then like if I ask them to discuss something, I will do another indented bullet point under that to specify some of the topics that they should cover. And oftentimes I'll put those in question format. Why might this happen? How do you handle it? What are the ramifications of it not being addressed, or what are the ramifications of it being addressed, and how will that affect organizational culture? Those are just some examples that I would use. So that's something to consider as you're developing course content. And I know that LearningMate, they're, like Dr. Coral said, their job is more administrative rather than brainstorming. And if you're seeking brainstorming opportunities, come to the weekly dish or the dish sessions. There are a lot more opportunities there to get some ideas. Thank you.
You're welcome. And definitely to piggyback on what you said, Lynn, I know for our last course uplifts that I was a part of, we've been doing that with our assignment instructions as well. We're giving them a scenario, and then we are giving them, you know, here it's like step one. This is what we're telling you to ask. And here are all the questions underneath that step. And step two, this is where you're going, and making it just very lockstep so that it takes away the student having to question, am I doing this right? If you're following the rubric, if you're following the assignment instructions, then you're doing it right. Now, you may not be doing it to the level of excellence, possibly, you know, that might be up for debate, but you're at least hitting the marks of what we're asking you to do in the assignment. And I have found and now I'm teaching the new version of one of our courses that we uplifted, and students really appreciate having those clear instructions. It has drastically cut down on the amount of questions we had for just 2 of our assignments, where students would just be like, I don't know what you mean. I don't know what this means. What are you asking me to do? I don't know. And so we haven't had any, like, I haven't had any of those questions from students where I normally do.
Well, Dr. Quarles, apparently you can see that this is a very engaging conversation, but
Absolutely.
we are at time. So just want to thank you so much for your presentation, and thank you to the audience for your participation in today's session as well. Please use the survey link that I put into the chat to nominate TLC presentations for this conference award, and share your Facebook on this presentation. Take care, everyone, and thank you, and enjoy the rest of TLC.
Thank you. Bye-bye.